This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association. Your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley Smith.
Good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is Friday, April 5th of 2024. We're so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, I have some coverage of my latest trip to the Landus Innovation Connector here in Des Moines. They hosted a media event to get the media caught up on the latest innovations that they have out there, as well as some new and exciting technology. But first, let's take a look at how the markets closed.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
At the end of another trading day in the ag marketplace, we're here with Curt Kimmel of agmarket.net. Curt, what have we seen going on today in the grain markets to wrap up this Friday and this week?
Well, it's kind of flat for the most part, news-wise. Most eyes are on the world situation, some of these outside markets more than anything. Iran and Israel, what type of fallout will we have there with the weekend and stuff is kind of a situation. Maybe sit tight and see what happens. But the outside markets did not hold back this week at all. Crude oil moved on up into the mid $80 level. Gold just continues to make all-time highs. Silver finally saw some giddy up. Silver market cleared the $26 resistance levels and moved on up in this $27 per ounce. So most people are kind of watching outside in market, not too interested in the grain complex, because last Thursday we went home with some optimism after the acreage and grain stocks report, and boy, we erased most of that optimism here this week. What we have coming at us here this coming week, we'll have the monthly supply demand report on Thursday. We'll see what type of news we have there, particularly that South American crop. Brazil soybean estimate, a lot of private analysts are looking something below 150 million metric tons, but the USDA remains up to this 155. Corn, they're in the prime part of their corn growing season, and it's estimated, last month 124 million metric tons. Some of the private estimates coming in lower, 120 million metric tons. So that'll be the news next week here as we go into that report for the most part. The main thing now that we have the grain stocks and the acreage estimate out of the way, when you start looking at these supply-demand balance sheets, what's going to move that bottom line more than anything is what type of yield you put on it. As of right now, we've got some trend line yields, some hefty yield projections, and until we get into the growing season, that's kind of what the trade's going to be looking forward to. Drought monitor came out. It shows a little bit more relief, particularly east of the Mississippi. West, particularly you guys in Iowa there, it's welcomed rain, but we're going to have to continue to see some additional moisture as we move more into the growing season here. Still early, plenty of time, a lot of weather volatility, and we're going to see a lot of weather volatility because some of these hurricane forecasters are looking at a very active system or a hurricane season this summer here. So that's going to keep the atmosphere juiced. Short term, though, that groundhog wasn't very accurate. I know locally here it's cold, blowing flakes and inside weather, but that's okay with me because there's been a lot of sports activity take place on TV. So one negative is one positive. Technical wise, corn kind of finished in the middle of its trading range. Corn futures, May corn finished down 7 3/4. I don't know if we have any giddy up or big down here until we get into next week and see what the fundamental numbers are. Soybeans down 6.5 cents in the May for the week. It keeps banging up against some downtrend lines and some moving average resistance levels. So So we can get some positive news here and pop these resistance area out. Maybe we have a little bit more recovery in the soybean market. Wheat-wise, it was up 7.5 cents for the week. We keep making higher highs and higher lows in the wheat. So some guys looking at wheat spread and buying wheat, selling corn, buying wheat, selling beans on the spread. But the big news, media news, fallout is going to be this bird flu situation.
And of course, that situation very much weighing in on the livestock markets. Cattle had a crazy week overall. So how are they ending this week?
Yeah, the bird flu, basically, it's been around. Just seeing it, the news media take up on human part of it. That was the big concern. Fat market down over $3-4 here late in the day. Feeders down over $6. On the weekly chart, April cattle down $6.75. But we saw some spread unwinding. So the beneficiary of this fallout was the hog complex, pork complex. The April hogs were up $2.70 for the week. They kind of gapped higher today. So we're seeing the migration or the movement towards some pork. We've got the cutouts, the loins, 95 cents, hams, 84. Those bellies are inching up. They're 131. It's really important for the public to be comfortable with this because we have cookout season when it warms up approaching here fairly quickly here. And before you know it, they'll start booking stuff for some holiday stuff as we move forward here. So we'll have to monitor which way the wind's blowing and how the public perceives this news.
All right, Curt, lots of great information today. For those of our listeners and our viewers who'd like to get in touch and learn more from the folks at agmarket.net, how can they do that?
You could 1-800-779-1515, or else you can go to agmarket.net and click on Intel. That's where most of the research or news information is stored there.
All right, Curt, thanks for taking the time to visit with us as always. Have a great weekend, and hopefully we'll see that warmer weather soon.
You bet. Take care.
Thanks again to Curt Kimmel of agmarket.net for joining us today. We'll go ahead and take a look at how those numbers closed, courtesy of the market window at iowaagnet.com.
May corn down 1 even at 434 1/4. May soybeans up 5 even at 11.85 even. May soybean meal down 40 at 333.10. Soybean oil up 74 cents at 48.89. Chicago wheat up 11 even at 567 1/4. Kansas City hard red wheat up 4 3/4 at 582 1/4. Minneapolis spring wheat up 1 3/4 at 648 even. May oats down 5 even at 331 1/4. On the Merc, April live cattle down 322 at 178.25. April feeders down $5 at 237.70. April lean hogs up 97 at 89.32. April pork cutout up 215 at 99.95. And April class 3 milk up a dime at 15.58.
And that's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association, and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I talk with Matt Chambers. He's the vice chair of the board for Landus. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Agriculture is constantly changing, and sometimes that change can happen extremely quickly. As a result, it's important for the companies at the forefront of ag technology to be able to change extremely quickly as well. Matt Chambers, vice chair of the board for Landus, said that while it's not always easy to see that change from a meeting room, it's exciting to be able to see the newest developments in ag technology as they are happening.
And first off, Matt, just tell us a little bit about your position and what it's like to, be in that situation with Landus, because obviously a lot of exciting things going on here.
Yeah, I love being part of the board. We have a great board. I've been a board member for just a little over 3 years, board chair for just over a year. You know, we get thrown a lot of exciting things, and the meetings are never dull. It's just great to be at the forefront of such interesting, innovative technologies, and we're changing out agriculture. You know, we maybe don't know it when we're sitting in a boardroom so much but when we do events like this or the connector events that we're having last week and this week, you see farmers interact with what we are creating. It really makes you realize that ag is changing fast and we're going to be right in front of it.
And I think it's interesting, too, that not only is ag changing fast, but Landus has changed fast. I mean, you talking with Matt earlier, he mentioned, going from having meetings in the basement to coming out here to the Innovation Connector and having a whole, high-tech facility dedicated to this. There's been a lot of change.
It's changing every day. I mean, we always joke in the boardroom, we'll be discussing things and different topics, and Matt will get an email and he'll say, oh, well, just a second, just got an email, and the direction will change like that quick, and we'll have a new direction to go. And that's the way agriculture is. I sometimes make a reference to my younger brother that I farm with. He's 12 years younger than me. Doesn't seem like a lot now when, he's his mid-30s and I'm my maybe upper 40s. But when we talk about what we have each seen in agriculture, it is a big difference. There's so many things that he has never done in our farming operation that I grew up doing. So, and it's a good symbol to know how fast this changes. That 12 years is a big difference in agriculture, and yeah.
So, let's go over some of the things we talked about today through this media event. Obviously, a lot of new technology being on board here at Landus. Big topic was talus, and just having, innovations like that, obviously green ammonia, other sustainable practices, adding more technology to the farm. That's, of course, at the core here at Landus, and it's exciting to see those things kind of come to fruition because, just a few years ago, you mentioned 12 years being a long time in agriculture. Just a few years ago, we were talking about, oh, maybe these things will happen, and now here they are.
Yeah, here they are, right in front of us. And, the great thing with talus, and, we talked about Tesseract, which is our data software company that they have created. They all go hand in hand. You can't do one without the other piece. In order to benefit from the sustainability side of green ammonia, you have to have the data on the backside of it, and you have to have that data, correct, verified, and easily pushed forward to get the true benefit of this anything sustainable in agriculture. But this talus green ammonia is going to play a huge part in that. So it's interesting to see how all the pieces of the puzzle, really do just fit together so well. Everything that you'll see in the connector they all fit together some way or another. They're all bound together by innovation and farmers' need for it. There's nothing up there that you would see that a farmer hasn't asked for or wouldn't want, and that's where Landus is doing a great job of sorting through. There's a lot of innovating companies around, but does it fit our farmers? Does it fit Iowa agriculture or Illinois agriculture? And so Landus does a good job of finding companies like Talus. I mean, this fits every farmer in the Midwest. Cheap, reliable, sustainable ammonia is a huge ticket here.
And, access and usability being such a huge thing. I know you guys were talking on that as well because, like you just said, we can have all these innovations, all this data out there for farmers to use, but if it's not available and it's not usable, then it's not a solution, right?
It is not a solution. It's just another headache. I was speaking at a meeting several years ago about ag software, and ag software has been all over the board. A lot of companies have tried it. We know a lot of the big names, it was brought up, the farmer gets overwhelmed with ag software. Most of us are still running the tractors. We are still driving the trucks. We are still doing the day-to-day field operations along with trying to analyze the data, sort through everything, and I don't need a more time-consuming, software or technology or stuff that isn't going to help my farm. So, to be able to sort through that, find something that's usable, user-friendly, doesn't require a lot of time. That's where this thing needs to go. And I think with the Tesseract, the synthesis system, we get there.
All right, lots of great information today, Matt. Anything else that our viewers and listeners should know about when it comes to the exciting things that are happening here at Landus?
You know, if you haven't heard of Landus yet, then I encourage you to look us up. You know, look at the things we've been doing. Look at the direction we're going. The CEO Matt Carsons often says this is not your grandfather's co-op. I always like to correct him because in a way it's more our grandfather's co-op than what he gives us credit for, because we are doing it farmer first. I mean, there's nothing that gets done in this office or the boardroom or anywhere that isn't farmer focused, because that's who owns us. You know, I own part of this company and as well as 55 other farmers, and so we have to keep it farmer focused. But I encourage you, if you haven't signed up for a connector event in the past, get down here to Des Moines. It's a great experience and a lot of great technology.
Matt, thank you so much for taking the time to visit today.
Yep, thanks, Riley.
That again was Matt Chambers, Vice Chair of the Board for Landus. That's all we have on today's episode of Ag Matters PM. Thanks again for tuning in. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. Also follow us on social media at Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and TikTok. You can find our video content as well as previous episodes of AM PM on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to see when those videos go live. Don't forget as well our free Thrice Daily Market podcast on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson, Dustin Huffman, and Andy Peterson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.